I'll now be talking about some developmental milestones in 3 to 6 month olds. We'll be hearing a lot about development, and often parents are quite concerned about their children reaching milestones. Development occurs at slightly different ages in different babies, and this should not be a cause for concern unless they are not meeting key developmental milestones by certain stages, which your healthcare practitioner will discuss with you. Remember that whilst the timing of development can vary from child to child, the sequence or order of development should be much the same. We've all heard that development occurs at a slightly different pace between different babies, and this is normally not a concern unless major milestones have not been achieved. But generally, the order of developmental milestones is similar from baby to baby, but the timing may be slightly different. So what can we expect at 3 months? Let's divide our development into 5 different facets. The first one is the gross motor skills, so that these are the big movements. The second is the fine motor skills, so these are using the little hands and hand-eye coordination. So thirdly, visual development, the eyes, tracking vision. Fourthly, hearing and language development. And the last facet of development is the social or personal development. So what can we expect from a 3-month-old child? From the gross motor point of view, the 3-month-old child has now made big progress with head control and has very little head lag, so can basically hold the head upright for prolonged periods of time. When a 3-month-old baby is put on its tummy, it can usually lift the upper body and a little bit of the back up, but it'll still have very bent arms and certainly can't straighten the arms up, but the head should be able to lift up for short periods of time during tummy time. A 3-month-old baby will like to kick and stretch when they lie on their backs, and also their standing reflex is starting to develop. So if you hold them on their laps, the little legs will start to straighten up, and this is well developed by 4 months of age, when little babies like spending time standing on a mom or dad's lap. What about the fine motor skills? So a 3-month-old is beginning to find its hands. The hands are held a lot more loosely and less tightly as they are in newborn babies. A 3-month-old baby will be fascinated by its hands and will start to grasp things when placed in the palm. They start to bring their hands together in the midline, and the next step is that they start chewing on or sucking their little hands. Between 3 and 4 months, a baby will start swiping at objects above them within their visual range, and by 4 months of age, this is a much more directed swipe at grasping things, and by 6 months of age, they should be able to grasp with good finesse. They also start grabbing things within easy reach, such as a mother's shirt sleeve, for example. A 3-month-old baby will start to grasp at. So those are the fine motor skills. From a visual development point of view, a young baby has a limited visual acuity, but this starts developing nicely at about 3 months of age. So they can see with a lot more clarity, and they can also follow objects from side to side. And by 3 months of age, the following range should be a good semicircle, 180 degrees. From a hearing and language perspective, a 3-month-old baby starts to recognize its parents' sounds and respond to its parents. It also starts to coo and gurgle a little bit, and sometimes even blowing bubbles or blowing raspberries, as it's fondly called. And from a personal or social development point of view, a 3-month-old should now be smiling readily. And they should be smiling at most people. They don't yet have stranger anxiety, so most people will be able to get a smile out of them. They start to develop facial expressions to show basic emotions, and they certainly recognize their primary caregivers' faces and smells. So that's a 3-month-old. Now let's roll a little bit forward to a 6-month-old baby to see what will have happened in the subsequent 3 months by the time a baby is 6 months of age. So once again, let's start with gross motor skills. So a 6-month-old baby will certainly have excellent head control. When they're lying on their tummies, they should be able to push themselves up with straight arms, and this of course is creating a readiness for crawling in the subsequent few months. A 6-month-old baby likes to kick and bounce, and they are starting to roll over from side to side, from front to back, and even from back to front. From a sitting perspective, sitting starts usually at about 6 months of age. Most babies will need a little bit of support still on their hips and their waists, but they can sit with support. And then sitting as a milestone should definitely be achieved by 9 months of age at the latest. From a fine motor point of view, a 6-month-old baby should be grabbing with finesse and really being able to aim well at objects in its grasp. They like to gum everything. So this is the age at which everything goes to the mouth. And commonly, people blame this on teething. But in any case, it's an oral stage of development, so everything is about the mouth. Lots of salivating can occur at this age. They're also learning to transfer objects from one hand into another, but generally they can't hold on to objects in both hands. They will drop one on the one hand. From a visual point of view, these 6-month-old babies look around, respond to sounds, and move their eyes in all directions. Let's talk about hearing and language development. So a 6-month-old will respond vocally when spoken to. They will use sounds such as laughter and squealing to express their delight, and they start to use repetitive monosyllabic sounds like ba, 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 da, 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 da. And from a social point of view, a 6-month-old is usually very interactive, nice and smiley, loves their primary caregivers, but is normally still friendly to most people around them, and they start to recognize toys and interesting objects. So there we are with our 6-month-old and our 3-month-old, comparing the two developmental stages.